how it might look like if we are to look in terms of preserving it, because this is not a system that we can say we should be looking at dismantling it or just overdoing with it and say it's no longer relevant, it's no longer supposed to be in existence. This is a system that defines one's purpose and one's final chapter of life.
Yes.
Because if you are now in your final stages of life, you need a family, and a family is put together by the marital system, which is guided by the principles of the marital system.
So
we overlooking that, right? We're building that you can marry wherever you want to. We can marry wherever you want to. But we do not want to acknowledge that they are cultural diversities. That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
They are a way of doing things from where I come from. You come from a family as well. They are a way of doing things wherever you come from. But how do we work together and say, come on, bring your side, let me bring my side. This we do the same, it's commonalities, it works fine for us. This is different. How do we get over the differences?
Okay.
Let me look at us doing well in terms of living arrangement. I don't think it's something that this generation of ours is ready for. I don't think we are ready for that, because there's still a lot of insecurities. We are a wounded generation. We come from quite a lot of things that we do not find it easily to trust somebody.
Yes.
I don't think that we are ready for living arrangement, but I believe that the generations that we are, that it's coming up now, the Generation Z and them that are coming after them, will be ready for the living arrangements, because they're a generation that easily trust, they easily do whatever they want. They do what they want to do. I think that when you're alone, right, because we were beings who were created in pairs. When you're alone, you will feel that you're alone. There will always be an empty space in you. That's why you're never fulfilled. That's why marriage will always stay in our hearts, because it's part of us. Like I was saying, as long as there's a man, there's a woman, there's marriage there.
We're good to go. Maanda Raphulu,
Yes, sir.
how are you?
No, I'm good. And thank you for having me in your show.
Yes.
It's quite an honor.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is this person?
Yeah.
This gentleman.
I do have some story to tell about who Maanda is.
Yes.
I was born in Limpopo, in a village called Amashamba. It's an urban township.
Yes.
I grew up there. I attended school there, and I think for me, I grew up in a space where I didn't really choose to be alone, but I actually appreciated my alone times. And like I like my space. I like to be alone, and I feel that yeah. So I think when I'm alone, that's when I get my mind to be connected, with the inner forces. That's where ideas comes to me. That's why I want to reveal the fact that when it comes to writing, I don't really feel that I have chosen writing as a person. I feel that writing has chosen me. This is a part of who I am as a person. I don't think of ideas, and ideas comes to me. If you're an artist, or maybe you're somebody who understand how spirituality works, you will understand that there's something that comes to you when you're not even thinking of. So this is how writing comes to me. I have been in a journey. I've done work in theater. I've tried writing for theater several times. I think back in the 2000s, I was in the Market Theater. I was in the Joburg theaters. I've been trying. I've been hustling, but things haven't been looking. I've wrote for TV as well. My submissions were partially admitted and approved, some of them. But I mean, it has been decimal failures and quite a lot of tries. And I think when I look at where I come from, I've written quite a lot of work. I really like being versatile as a writer.
So you actually not writing only books.
No,
You also write plays.
yeah, I've tried plays. I've tried quite a lot of different genres.
Yes.
And I think when I started looking at how my writing is and how the world is and where the people are at the moment, I figure the fact that I'm quite behind in terms of how I'm trying to write, I'm trying to coming out and connecting with people, because it was more deep and it was more stuff that as a reader or as somebody that is just trying to follow, you might find it difficult to follow. That's when I started looking into terms of how do I now write for people, for audience, for readers, and say, I want other people to connect with my writings. Then I decided I'm going to try now to change how I write. And I looked at how the world is moving, and traditional's way of writing and how we want to communicate as writers or as authors. It is changing because people are not actually now more interested in terms of like trying to put big words in writing and being vague in terms of what you're trying to communicate.
Okay, Manda, I'm really sorry, man,
No
for these
problem.
technical issues. We'll
Yeah,
do
yeah,
everything. I'm
yeah.
a sound guy, and I'm also assisting my guy there with the cameras. So these technical errors are getting on our way. So yeah, you were telling us about your journey. You said you're finding inspiration to write and things, topics that you write about when you are alone. Why is that?
It's like a calling thing.
Okay, okay.
So obviously it's not everything that
Mm.
comes to me
Mm.
when I'm alone. My ideas comes from everything.
Okay.
Even now when we're talking, something can come to me that
Oh yeah.
I can go and say. Then later on, something can just come to
Yes,
me about the
yes.
conversation.
Mm-mm-mm.
Then I can write about what I see, what I hear, what I read about.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's the times when I'm alone. That's when ideas come. Then I
Mm.
can start thinking about it. Then my writing is very complicated, or for
Yeah.
me, I
Yes,
feel
yes.
that it's very simple for me. But for another person, it might be complicated because I do not write something on a book
Yeah.
or on a notepad. I write what I have in my head. So if I have an idea, I will write that finish in my head. So when I decide I'm gonna take a pen now and put
Yeah.
it down,
Yes.
then I'm done with what I need to write.
Oh, is it?
Yes, that's how it comes to me. I do not write pieces and come back and write another piece.
Yes, yes.
It comes to me at once. I write it in my head as I go back and forth. Then when I decide to put it down, I know
Yeah.
that I'm done here.
I hear you. Talking about spirituality, how is the situation? How are you with the spirituality? How are you connected?
Yeah, so I do not really say I would not say I understand how the spirit works, but I feel that there is something in me
Yeah.
that makes me believe that the spirits exist and the spirit guides you in terms of how the ideas comes to me. I do not think of them. They come
Yes.
to me. There must be something that brings these ideas, that installs them in my brain, because I tend to think of the brain as like, like a software, as a motherboard of a
Okay.
software.
Yes. Yes.
So when you think of how the software works, there's sometimes when you the software needs an upgrade.
Yes.
So I believe that that's how my brain is. When something comes, it's like you are an addition of what I have. It just get added to me, not without me thinking of it, but it just comes to me. Then it get added. Then as I go along, because that's a complete scripture that was added in you. You don't have to think back and forth about
Yes,
it
yes,
because
yes,
it
yes.
stays installed in you.
Yeah. So then this should be an operating system. What is that operating system? Is there a higher power dynamics that are playing role there? How connected are you with God or high power? What's your view there? With the high power?
Like to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I grew up in a family where they like we are highly believers in terms of church.
Yes.
We believe in God. That's one thing that I can proudly say. I grew up in church. I grew up going to church from young age. I understand how the church works and how the Bible works. So, do I believe that there is a God? I definitely do,
Yes.
because I believe I have stories to tell in terms of why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yes.
Personally, even though I'm not going to talk about it today, maybe next time when I come back.
Okay.
But there is connection in terms of what I do and when I do it and where it's coming from. It's not really coming from me.
Then one would
Something
say,
that I just deliver.
one would say maybe that is what had inspired you, because we're talking about marriage here,
Yes.
and it's something that is an institution that is guided by the Bible.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
So would you say, looking back, that is what grounded you into becoming what you are doing now?
Yes, when you look at what the book that I've written now, the
Yes.
Ideal Future Marital System, it's a topic that I believe, I'm highly convinced that it's a topic that we must never stop talking about.
Yes.
Marital systems were created by God Himself, and He has put principles that guides the marital system. But I tend to believe that people have been evolving over time, you know.
Yes.
Like if you look at the software, like there's different versions. People are evolving. There were the millennials. Now we have the Gen Zs. You know, as Gens are
Yes.
coming, the system that we have, it cannot stay stagnant. It cannot stay the same system. Then we believe that it will work for this generation and the generation to come. Something must change.
Yes.
Something there must be some way of how do we go and make flexibilities in the system to make sure that it accommodates the current generation and the generation to come. So this book that I wrote, the Ideal Future Marital System, it was inspired by the system when it was created, how it looked back then, what makes it work, and the current system that we have, you know, and the struggles that we have in the current system, and how it might look like if we are to look in terms of preserving it, because this is not a system that you can say we should be looking at dismantling it or just overdoing with it and say it's no longer relevant, it's no longer supposed to be in existence. This is a system that defines one's purpose and one's final chapter of life. Because if you are now in your final stages of life, you need a family, and a family is put together by the marital system, which is guided by the principles of the marital system.
So, but then one would say, why do I need to be in marriage for me to can have a family or to create family? Maybe I can say it's possible for me to have a family without being in marriage. More especially with us.
Definitely it is. But if you want to look at fulfillment in terms of what you want to leave behind, I believe that there is principles that guides one. As a man, you have principle that guides you in terms of what you need to be for your family. As a woman, you have principle that needs to guide you in terms of what you should be for your family. These principles also guide you in terms of what you should be for your children. But if you are looking to form a family that will be risen under the hand of God, that will know God, and obviously that will live after you when you are gone and everyone else is gone, but they know that this family, this is what we do, these are our ways of working, this is our way of doing things, then I think that you should consider that marriage, it's a way to go.
And who set those principles? According to which standard?
Like now, if you look at how things are happening, right? It's not principles that you should maybe just decide that I'm gonna set these principles. It should be between us as partners, because there is moments of when you are dating as partners. That's when you need to start and saying, what are we looking at in terms of if we decide to get into marriage? What are the things that we feel that you and I both agree on, and what are the things that we feel that this doesn't work for us? Because there are tons and tons of things that we know that people really maybe you can adopt. There's tons and tons of things that you can say this will not work for us. And it's not about what I feel as an individual when it comes to marriage or a relationship that this will work for me, but it must be what will work for us
Oh.
as a partnership.
In your
What will
book
work for
somewhere
us?
you've mentioned that they say once you marry into the family, not only me as an individual. So,
Definitely.
and then, okay, let's say now we agree on certain principles or standards that we may set for ourselves that
Yes.
will work for us. But
Yes.
then there comes a family dynamics. Is it belief, be it cultural, be it traditional? Then
Yeah.
now, how do we cope with that? Because also the society
Yeah.
comes with its own pressures on
Exactly.
how they perceive marriages. Also, here's the infiltration by government.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
there will always be principles and
Yeah.
guides,
Mhm.
in terms of how one can navigate life.
Yes.
Because I think without these principles, I think life will be meaningless. We will
Okay.
be a lost cause. So family is there to support you. I believe that family is there for support.
Yes.
It's there to actually they need to support what you believe in. If I decide now I want to be married, I believe that my spouse should know my beliefs. They should know that. They should know
Yes.
my beliefs. They should
Yes.
know my values, the way of doing things, where I come from.
Yes.
And I should do exactly the same. I should know what she believes in, values, and all that. But does that mean that it must become part of what we want to build?
Oh.
I don't agree that that means that that's what we need to take forth. We are building our own family, yeah?
Yes.
We need to come and say from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you come with, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I come with, what is it that we want to take from our own family?
Yes.
Am I still going to take part from what my family do? Yes, I will still take part. But does it mean that it must come to my home? No, it doesn't have to.
Okay.
I will decide what needs to influence what comes to my home.
Yes. But then when we check all those aspects and we realize that they are failing us, where do we bounce back to? Do we bounce back to the Bible, or
Yeah.
what should guide us actually there?
There's written a lot of books that are written. But if
Yes.
you can check everything else that is written, it comes from somewhere, and it will
Okay.
always bounce back to the Bible. Even the idea of anything that you think of now, if you look into the Bible, you might find that there's something that you can always bounce back to.
Yes.
Yes, there will be struggles, like there is struggles in life, there will be struggles in relationships and marriage. But if one really needs guidance, I think the only way and the right way, the right place to look at
Yes.
is to God Himself.
There's an operating system that I believe we should maybe derive it from this whole system called an institution.
Yes.
Firstly, let's talk about why is it called an institution. I believe an institution is something that is well established and with certain ethics, morals, and whatever. But then here you are referring to it as a system. I believe maybe it's an operating system under which you believe if we read from your book, we'll definitely find something that will help us. But then what's your view when it comes to government in infiltrating marriages?
Yeah, so I always looked at marriage. I have a view in terms of how I looked at it. You will find it when you read the book.
Yes.
That my view is that back then, before marital was invented or it was put in place, people were living without governance. People were just living like,
We can
without
say like
control.
animals,
Yeah,
for
like
lack of better
animals,
word.
like
Yes.
without control.
Yes.
And that kind of behavior or the kind of lifestyle posed catastrophe for human race. Our existence would be utterly destroyed, would be maybe an extent by now if the system like marital was not put in place.
Yes. Yes.
I believe that the institution itself
Yeah.
brought or it has managed to create order in this universe. It has managed to preserve human race. And that's why the system is ideal. So when it comes to how I looked at it, I looked at the fact that when you enroll into a marital system,
Yes, we
you
enroll. That's it,
actually
yeah.
you actually get a certificate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You do not get a certificate when you get out of the system. So this is a different institution from any other institution that we know, be it your educational, be it any other that you know. Marriage is affirmed biblically.
Yes.
It's affirmed by God Himself in the Bible. Marriage is affirmed by the society as well. That's why society feels that marriage it's still relevant. Marriage is the way of life. Then if you look at why did I say the marital system? Because I believe this. We it cannot just exist in our brains in all that. There are principles that guides it. Then that's what makes it a system. And if you look at how systems are, they are built in a way that you can always upgrade them.
Oh, yes.
That's what makes marriage a system.
Oh, yes.
You can always upgrade a system in terms of where we are at the moment. When marriage was created, life was less complicated. People haven't evolved to where they are today.
Yes.
But we have evolved in a way that we are a society that is too vastly complicated. How does this system now that was created back then can be able to cater for the changes in the society? So for it to be able to cater for the changes in society, the system needs to be upgraded. We need to look at how this generation it behaves, conduct themselves, and then how can we find flexibility in terms of how can you still enroll in the marital system and still don't find or and still don't feel like you are losing yourself or you're no longer who you want to be because of the marital system.
Of which I think it's what most couples make mistake when it comes to that. We are not doing well when it comes to that, actually, because first of all, I'm coming into you as an individual.
Definitely.
I was raised by parents, my own parents. You were raised by your own parents.
Exactly.
Under certain belief systems, traditions and cultures. For an example, I'm Kimulobed, or maybe let me say Pedi. Okay, then now I'm married to a Tsonga lady. What could that mean? Because remember, culture dynamics, traditions, belief systems, and all sorts of things. Where do you think we can? Where do I stand?
Yeah, so I'm working on something. I think I'm working on another book that covers cultural diversities.
Yes.
Because that's why I feel that that's where the challenges are. We look at this cultural diversities, and we want to act like they are non-existent. We want to ignore them and make like they are not there. And the reality is they are there, they exist. And if we can tend to want to acknowledge them, and we want to learn, right? I actually go out of my way and say, I want to understand your culture, your cultural background, and my spouse is willing to do that. That's where we can find commonalities. That's where we can find differences. And how do we work with those differences? Because from Etonga and from Epede, there will be differences.
Exactly.
The commonalities, I don't think they are issues, right?
In most communities back in Limpopo, we actually grew up with them in other instances, because you will find Epede somewhere in Tsonga people's land, and maybe sometimes you'll find Tsongas. Like myself, I went to school with a Tsonga guy, even though he was speaking Lovedi, but he was still grounded and very,
I think even where I come from, there is a section where we used to have Tsonga people there. But what I'm trying to get to is the fact that when we get to, that's why back then, right, the elders were the ones who initiates, marriages. Marriages were arranged, and they would want you to marry from a Pedi, right? Because you are a Pedi, right? Because they were, they had intellect. They were very smart in terms of understanding that if you move into another clan or into another maybe I'm moving to another different tribe. There will be a lot of complications there because they're cultural diversities, right? But now we're overlooking that, right? We're building that you can marry wherever you want to. We can marry wherever you want to. But we do not want to acknowledge that they are cultural diversities. That's where the problem is. I cannot just come in and want to do away with that, but this is not going to exist. This is going to work
Here we
for
are,
us.
we made a job back, therefore we are not
It can't be
actually
right.
practicing.
You must understand
that,
the fact that I come from a family and their way of doing things from where I come from. You come from a family as well.
Okay.
Their way of doing things wherever you come from. But how do we work together and say, come on, bring your side, let me bring my side. This we do the same, it's commonalities, it works fine for us. This is different. How do we get over the differences?
Okay.
Because the work is in how do you get through the differences in terms of cultural diversity. It's not the things that you do from both sides, but the things that you find that this is new for me. Jewish, I didn't know that this way that people can do this way, but how do you do it, and what does it mean to us? Not
Here
to
I
me.
am. I met a Tonga or Venda lady.
Yes.
My mom is okay. Maybe my brothers here because they're at Joburg. We met here. They are okay. They know everything about us. But then here comes a problem. We go home in homelands.
Yeah.
I introduce my wife to a granny. Then granny has a problem. No, you can't take from Tsonga people.
Yes.
Mainly why? Because it might happen that it might be possible back then they had like some clashes and with regards to land and something. Maybe they were fighting over something. Therefore, like they've got these bad bloods between themselves.
Definitely.
Then I come across a new problem again.
It will always be there.
Yeah.
It will always be there, whether you marry from same clans there will always be someone who will come and say, I don't think this one is right for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you need to be in a position where me and my spouse or my partner, we need to be in a position where you understand that there will always be challenges. And challenges won't come only from the society or the things that in between. Our families at some point will be challenges for us.
Yes.
Then how do I stand for you as my partner when that arises, right? When my mom says, Maanda, I don't think this one is right for you. What do I say to my mom, right?
Yeah.
What do I say to my mom? Because I chose it.
Yes.
You need to be the one who now oversells, you need to oversell your partner to your family and say, besides that, right, this person treats me well. This is what they do for me. This is how I feel when they are with me.
Okay.
You need to be the one who will always advocate for them. If you now stop advocating, the entire part of your relationship will be about how do we keep on advocating for each other when these things come.
Very profound.
In your absence and in your presence.
Oh,
Not only when you are here, then I can advocate for you.
Yeah, there are
even
those
when you
double
are not
standard
here.
partners.
Yes.
When I'm with my parents or my own people, I'm talking trash about
Yes.
you.
And you are selling now your partner away. You are selling them away. You're giving them ammunition that they will be able to use. If something just goes wrong, they have all those ammunition.
Oh, yeah.
So you must always advocate right about them. Even then, they are not there, right? In their absence. And that's where it really matters that you advocate for them in their absence.
Here's a lady, I met her, maybe it's from the university.
Yeah.
We met at the college. We are here at Joburg from home, from Limpopo. We met here. Okay, she's a lady. There will always be those family members who will try to attribute the success of one of theirs into their own success overall. But then now here comes a guy, he says he wants to marry her, then comes a problem. No, he's gonna chow money from our younger sister, our cousin and stuff. And then maybe here's a sister now, she starts to have a problem to say, my brother is no longer sending money back at home because since this lady arrived. So how do we deal with those challenges? Does your book deal with such dynamics?
I looked at quite a lot of complex issues in my book. There is I think a topic that I will just maybe share. We spoke about the differences in terms of how do we deal with conflict. These instances that you're bringing up, it hasn't gotten to a position where there is conflict, but there is a potential conflict because of these changes, right? You brought somebody and you're bringing in somebody into the clan already signifies change because there is number 7 now. We were 6. We used to get 2 maybe. Now we might get 1, right? We might get 1 because you brought somebody. Then that you are now responsible for the ushering of the change.
Oh, yeah.
Because you are bringing change into your family's life. It means change for them. From your partner's side as well, it means change for them. She is responsible as well to usher that change in terms of what does it mean that I am successful and I've got all this that you know of me, but now I have decided that I am moving in with my partner. What does it mean to us? Does it mean that you have lost me? Does it mean that communication changes and all that? If you can assure your family or you can assure the people that are close next to you that this doesn't mean that I am changing, but this does mean that I'm growing as a person. Because at some point, regardless of when, but you will grow. And as human beings, we know that when you grow,
they need to change
you
their
will
perspective,
always leave.
how
Yes,
they
people
see
are
it.
not meant to be at the same place always. People are meant to be in different places. I can be here today, but at some point, regardless of maybe I'm still staying here, but in terms of how you think, in terms of how you do things, you might be in a different place next time. You might be not here, but I might come here and I'm talking to you. I can feel that this man is no longer the same man that I've been talking to. How do I now adjust to where you are? So it's more about how do you usher the change that is coming? How do you communicate it? Is it something that I'm just coming and saying, hey, I've met someone, I'm getting married?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that means disruption. I mean, we were not prepared for the news. How do you prepare us? You know, that preparation is very important. Big. Just bring smaller news and say, this is what is happening, because it's change. Change is constant, but change can be disruptive if you just bring it all at once. So you must be the custodian of it.
Okay.
Both partners. I cannot be initiating on my side and on your side you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
That won't work.
There's a belief system that Christians hold, or some Christians hold, that you cannot confirm or bless the marriage if you are not married yourself. So would you say somehow you feel contradicted that you yourself, you are not married according to the system, the way it defines it, and now you are becoming, because by default, from my own view of things, you are automatically, by default, you ushering for this idea of marriage. You are by default becoming a marriage counselor.
A counselor,
yes,
definitely.
So then what would you say about that?
I would answer this in a very different way.
Yes.
Because I've received quite a number of questions when it comes to that. That how do you write about marriage, but you're not married? I am a writer. Yes. I'm a writer, and what I write is what comes to me at that point. It might be something that I've observed, like something that I've been thinking of, but it's something that is just coming to me and say, but this is like your project now. Work with this project. Yes. So when this book came to me, I actually didn't have much to work on because I'm not married. Okay. This is not real life experience. This is something that I have now to go and start doing some research. I need to talk to married couples and say, what are you struggling with? Okay. What does the research say? What is happening around the people that I know, the people that I'm in relationship with, maybe just close proximity, or my family? What is it that I've seen? What is it that I've observed? And what does it mean to me? And how can it be better for somebody else that is going to enroll into the marital system? Am I in a point where I feel that I need to be counseling people? Provided, yes, you come with issues that are within my knowledge, where I can be able to guide and say, this is what I know, this is what I've read, this is what I think it can look like. Yes, I can. But if something that is not within my reach, I don't think that I will be able to tackle matters that I'm not within, matters that need somebody that is really in marriage. I won't be associating with myself with that. I might refer somebody to say, I'm not yet there. You see, by the time when I'm there, I will be able to counsel. But 1, 2, or 3, when it comes to relationships, what I know, I will be able to share with the world. Yes, I'm willing to share what I know with the world. That's why I wrote this book.
Based off what I do, my topic, my subject matters in Christianity. When I ask such questions, some would say, but Moses left his own family to do the Lord's work. Jesus was not married.
Yes.
And Paul, who wrote the majority of books from New Testament, was also not married.
Yes.
So then, yeah, I think that also explains to what you were saying.
Definitely.
What do you think are three mainly common problems that fail marriages or that cater to marriages
Yeah,
failing?
yeah. So I'm looking at some topics here. I've looked at communication, and I've looked at alteration. I've looked at overcrowding. You can now wonder, what does this man talk about? It's bringing out big words in
Yes.
terms of what I'm
Yes.
talking about, but I will explain what I'm talking
Okay.
about. So when with my first topic in terms of communication, I believe that human beings rated, or we are above any other species because of our ability to communicate.
Okay.
And that's what gives us power in terms of where we are rated. We are the top tier in terms of other species. But what does it mean if there is failure in communication? There is quite a lot of things that goes wrong if we do not communicate.
It goes without saying that.
Communication is not just now that I am telling you things,
Yes.
but it goes along as way. Do I really mean what I'm saying? You know, am I aligned to what I'm saying? Are you communicating in a way that somebody can understand, or
And
I'm just
live up to them.
communicating? You know,
Yes.
are you leaving some part of the communication not communicated? Because there is uncommunicated communication. What does that mean if you are not communicating it? Because it becomes an expectation that I expect you to know, but I've never told you. And when I refer to inconsistencies, these are something that you used to communicate this way. But all of a sudden, the communication is changing. You can pick up that this is happening. And this
Once
is,
in a while, you used to take me out.
yes,
You
and there's
no
quite a
longer
lot
do
of
that.
things that you can feel that now, man. This man used to call me 3 times, or
Yes.
now there's no call. Now whatever is happening, or you can feel that communication is a lot of things. Like even what you're not saying, right? The gestures and all that. That's what brings quite a lot of animosity. That's what brings quite a lot of challenges in terms of relationships.
Yes.
Because I might not be communicating in verbal in it, but I'm saying a lot of signals in terms of how I feel, but I'm not willing to communicate. How do we bridge the gap between what we're not communicating and what we're communicating, and when do we communicate it? When we communicate it, what does it mean to us? How do we move forward?
Okay.
Because I can be saying something today, but you're like, okay, no, it's fine. I hear you and all that. 3 months from now, and you're like, remember you did 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. What does it mean? Are we still going back now, 3 months back? Are we going forward?
Yeah.
Then when you look at alteration, it's a problem. Because I, as a guy, I can marry somebody because I like them, or a woman can marry into a relationship because they like a guy. But when you get into that relationship, you feel that there is a need that you must change a way of doing certain things.
Okay.
Like you are always at church, when you know what, I don't understand that. Maybe you must go once at the, or when are you like going out, or when are you like doing that, or when this is what I don't like about you. This is what I'm referring to when I talk about alteration. What does it mean? That I'm saying I love you, but I don't like this part of you. What does it mean? What are you really trying to tell somebody? Why are we now trying to alter certain things? But we have said, I do love you, but I don't like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What does it mean? That's mixed signals. You're sending different communication, and that becomes a problem because you want to change a person. And by default, humans defend who they are. When I start feeling that you're trying to change how I do things and how I see things, there will be a need to defend there. And that's what it's called. That's why I'm saying alteration. It causes quite a lot of issues. We might not want to admit or talk about it. Somebody might be in a space where I'm like, okay, I'm compromising, But that compromises won't be a compromise forever. It builds up. And when it builds up, one day it's going to be an explosion. It will turn to a conflict that can be resolved. Then I spoke about overcrowding. Overcrowding is a word that is defined as a place where there is too many things at one particular time. I looked at it in a different way, that there is a point in a relationship, or
Yes.
when people are in a marriage, as my book talks about
Yes,
marriage,
yes.
where we start becoming too much, or we take too much of each other. This goes hand in hand with alteration. So you might now start taking too much of somebody's space, be it mentally, emotionally, physically, because as a human being, you do need your space to breathe. It might be that you are taking somebody's you're overcrowding someone in terms of emotions, whatever you say, whatever you do, it becomes too much for someone to handle. Or time, you take too much time of someone, you take too much time of each other.
Yes.
It might be overcrowding each other financially. So there's quite a lot of things that you can overcrowd each other with. But when do you now notice as partners and say, you know what, I feel that I need 1, 2, 3 because this is what is happening. You are pushing me away when you do not talk to me, or when you talk to me this way, you're pushing me away. Or if you prohibit me to go from church, right? You are killing the inner person in me. I grew up going to church, my man. Like now, if you start saying, but you can't go every Saturday, you're not home, every Sunday, you're not here.
Yes.
But that's what brings life to me. That's what makes this person that
That's
you
what
like.
matters the most
Yeah,
to
that's what
me.
makes this person that you love
Yes.
always happy, alive. And the minute you start altering that, it means that you're killing this inner person.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get a different person.
yeah.
Then there will be unhappiness in
yeah.
that whole situation.
Okay. I've got two colleagues. They've
Yeah.
got two different stories. One has got the story related to what you were talking about
Yeah.
now. She said now she separated with her baby daddy because now she was starting to go to church
Yeah.
and getting devoted to the Lord, to the Lord's work. But then the guy, they used to go out actually and party. But then now she realizes that we can't find a way to incorporate these two
Exactly.
lifestyles. So then she ended up leaving that guy. But I said to her, you are the main reason why people hate church.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
more than what it should solely do, it should bring people together.
Exactly.
Rather, you are portraying it to be something that break people. Another one is a lady. She used to party. She found a man who goes to church and devoted.
Yeah.
And then she took that man into the partying lifestyle. But then that lady found God along the way. Then she started to commit into the Lord's
Then she
way.
wants to go back.
Then now
Yeah.
she's starting to complain. My man is always at the party. Every weekend he's grooving, but then it gets me frustrated because sometimes I see people coming with their partners at church, standing on the pulpit in front of people together. Then it becomes beautiful, and I adore that. But then now, it's on me because
Yes.
it's my fault anyway. I took him out of the way that I realized that was the way that I would love in future.
Exactly.
Yes,
I think what you're saying is it's very profound.
Yeah.
These are real life examples. These are not things that we can just say maybe they exist in movies or in books. We do not come from different families. We do not come from from the same backgrounds.
Yes,
It's different
yes.
thingy. And what you believe and what somebody else believes might be different, right? Or we might be believing in the same thing right now. But what happens with people is that people grow.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
People grow. It might
Yeah.
not be maybe in the fact that I'm no longer going to church or I'm no longer partying, but your way of thinking, right? It
Yes.
might be different because you are
I'm still
growing as a
God-fearing.
person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're growing. Your understanding of the way you want to do things now, it's different. But how do you now communicate those differences in a
Yes.
relationship and
Yes.
say, you know what, I am in a space where I feel that I need to do more of this, but I don't want what I do to affect our relationship, right?
Yes.
Because it's more about communicating and how the next person feels about it. Obviously, they will mitigate. They will bring their own ways of how do they feel about the situation.
Okay.
But okay, I understand you feel this way. What is it that you suggest that I can do? There must be a way of departure from the point.
Yes.
The two of you must agree in a way of, okay, this is how you're going to do things. I understand. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you need to understand as well. There must be compromises.
Okay.
Otherwise, if I'm just going to do to make myself happy only, then what about the next person? If she does whatever makes her happy only, what about the next person? So relationships about how do you now find a lot of things, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
say out of this so many things,
These are common
we have
grounds that we
have
can
few
that can
things,
hold
and
us
these are
together.
what we're going to work with.
Do you think our kids will live to see marriage the same way we used to view it?
No, I do not. I do not think our kids will be seeing marriage as you and I see. But will our kids grow up to see marriage? Yes, they
Okay,
will. I
okay.
still agree that marriage is not an institution that will be irrelevant or dissolute or gone forever. But it will be different
Yes,
because
yes.
times are different, people are different. Our kids or people that are coming now, they're different.
Yeah.
It might mean total different thing to the generation that is coming.
Okay.
Like in my book, I spoke about the living arrangements in one of the chapters that I mentioned. What does that mean? Because I looked at a point of where we are, that you find that I come with a child into a relationship, right?
Yes, yes.
And somebody comes with a child as well into a relationship.
Okay.
And obviously I come with my cultural background, I come with my religion, a lot of ways, a lot of things that I do from where I come from, and as well as they are coming with that. And you find that when we get now to be in the same place,
Yes.
all these things clashes because you no longer be able to do what you want to do, but you feel that instead of me being here with this person, rather you want to break up because of you were not able to get to do whatever you want to do. But there is a way that you can still be able to do whatever you want to do. If you were still staying wherever you're staying, I was staying wherever I'm staying, we used to be able to do whatever you want to do there.
Okay.
Then if it's time for us to be together, we used to make time that we can be together, enjoy ourselves, be ourselves. Then you return back to what I said in this words in the book. I said that by the time of dating, we found time to be able to be together when time calls for us to be together. It's like a role play. When we are done with that, you go back to wherever you live, right?
Yes.
And experience has taught me that things that comes as episodes, right? In episodes, there are things that always leaves one wanting more, right? So if you see your partner in those episodes, right, that you know that we are married, yes, but you live in your own living space, I live in my own living space, that you will be able to role play when times calls. We know that we are married. The whole purpose of us living separately is because we don't want to overcrowd each other. It's because we don't want to alter each other.
Like yourself,
it's
you
because,
enjoy your own
yes,
space.
it's because we don't
Yeah.
want to bring quite a lot of things that can
Yes.
break us up, which
Yeah.
is us just taking too much of each other. Instead of me taking too much of your time and all that, but how do we make sure that our marriage stays healthy, eh? Without us trying to alter each other and take too much of each other, saying things that we would not say normally to each other, because now we are 24/7 together.
Okay.
And you feel that, you know what, I want to get out, right? I want to get out, I want to go do my things. But for me to be able to get out, I need to upset you, I need to say some mean things to you, then you're angry, then I will be able to go out and say,
Unnecessarily,
you know,
yes, yes.
how do we avoid those instances and say, okay, I want to go to gym, right? Then you can wake up and go to gym, but you're like, okay, I want to be with my family, I'm going to my wife today, this week I'm with my wife, without this whole assault. So I think our kids will be, if they are enrolling into this marital system, it must be flexible enough to accommodate these changes in terms of I've looked into how the Gen Zs and our generation behave. We've got people who are very independent. We have people who are very expressed. We are expressive. We speak our minds.
We are,
you
we
know?
are also exposed to a
Yes.
whole lot of topics. Yes.
Exactly. Like what is happening in social media influences our life.
Yes.
Indirectly, sometimes you might feel like, okay, it doesn't influence me, but it does, right? But how do we make the marital system still accommodate these changes? You know, some ways of doing things can be different, but the principles are not supposed to be changed.
All right.
It can be done differently, but the principles of marriage, it must still say, a husband and a wife, these are the roles that you need to play in marriage. It
mm.
doesn't mean now that you're no longer living together, or you no longer do this thing this way. It means that you must change the marital principles,
Yes.
but you must change how you do things.
If I get you correctly, you are saying it is also possible that we can live under the arrangement that we are married and still committed to each other,
Yes.
but we are not living in the same place.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what you will find in the book. It's actually brought in a chapter where we were talking about overcrowding, and the influence of technology.
Yeah.
Because if you can stay together, connected, right? Some people, they say in touch, but I still say connected, because I mean, you are connected even if you are not in the same place.
Yes.
If you can do that 24/7 without being in the same place.
But then, as a spiritual person, I might say, no, that is a demon. It doesn't want men in your life.
Yeah.
So that demon needs to be cast out. Do you think we are doing well as Black people in that regard? Maybe adapting to what you were talking about, that arrangement of getting married but not living in the same space. Or also, I want you, as you are explaining it or answering my question, I want you also to dive a little bit into the issue of co-parenting. Are we doing well in those two topics as Black people?
Let me look at us doing well in terms of living arrangement. I don't think it's something that this generation of ours is ready for. I don't think we are ready for that, because there's still a lot of insecurities. We are a wounded generation. We come from quite a lot of things that we do not find it easily to trust somebody.
Yes.
I don't think that we are ready for a living arrangement, but I believe that the generations that we are, that it's coming up now, the Generation Z and them that are coming after them, will be ready for the living arrangements, because they're a generation that easily trust. They easily do whatever they want. They do what they want to do. Yes. So I don't see them not being able to cope in a situation where we can be married or we can be in a relationship, but you can be living where you live, because this is more about maturity and it's more about trust. Yes. The big thing about this, it's about understanding that the reason why we are not living under the same roof, it's for us to stay in marriage, not to stay out of marriage. I believe that there are couples that are doing co-parenting fantastically. I've seen people that are co-parenting in a magical way, in a way that you will not even believe that these people are separated. Yes. There are people that are making co-parenting seem like a disaster, in a way that there are people that are feeling that they've convinced themselves that if my relationship and my baby mama's relationship didn't work, it means that there is no existence.
Now we become enemies.
Yeah, that means that we're enemies, and we do not even acknowledge the fact that we have a child together. Yes, our relationship failed, right?
Yeah.
But we have a relationship with the child. That relationship can't fail. I think if we can get to understand the fact that our relationship didn't work, yes, it's fine. But the relationship of myself and the child, you and the child, that must never fail. That's when co-parenting becomes healthy. Because you understand that it's no longer about the two of you, right? But this individual that you brought in this world needs you guys.
There's a myth, certain myth that I've heard about marriage. Same that goes with the myth that Christianity is a white man's religion. Also, if I want to merge it with what we are talking about now, marriage, maybe some other people would say, as Blacks, we don't believe in a marriage system. It's a white man's institution, so therefore it won't work for us. I've heard so many myths. In passing, I've written a joke. I said, before you give a guy a child, make sure that you understood his clan, his surname very well. I said, really put. So therefore, we are Springboks, we run. But anyway, it was still a myth, because that's not what is true, what I'm living. But then, what are those myths that you have heard about marriage?
I mean, there's quite a lot of things that people think and things that people say. I know that marriage is quite a lot. It's quite a topic that has been interpreted differently. You know, other people, when they want it to suit them, it's like a Bible. People quote it. They have certain quotations just to back up their
Okay, yeah,
understanding
yeah.
and their belief.
Even our ignorance,
Yes.
yes.
So when it comes to marriage, I believe there was a reason why a man was created, and because a man was lonely,
How much time?
then a woman was created.
Yeah.
It was just for those reasons,
Yes.
for the fact that these two people need to stay together. The reason why a woman was brought into a man's life, into a man's world, is for the fact that they must stay together. They must be together. That's where marriage comes from.
All right.
Before the ceremonies and before the blessings into the altar and the wedding rings and all that, men and women were already married by spirit when a woman was created. So that's something that we cannot overlook now and say it's a Western thing. It's a white thing. As long as there is a black man, there's a black woman. Marriage exists there. For the fact that we are in existence, marriage exists because immediately the two of us get together, we're married in spirit. Before we come to how the society practice marriage in terms of we need to buy wedding rings, to do whatever ceremonies, so that you do ceremonies, but you are married in spirit already. Okay.
Are you looking into marriage, like getting married in maybe coming years, few years, or something like that?
Yeah, I I do believe in marriage, and I think the ideal future marital system is not the marriage that I will say I'm gonna be married into, right? Because you don't marry yourself, you marry somebody else, right?
Yes.
I will be married, and I will still advocate for marriage, even if I get married or maybe something happens to my marriage, I will still advocate for marriage, because I feel that everyone in this life, they were brought for a purpose.
Okay.
And if you can find that your purpose is to preach, your purpose is to sing, is to dance and make people happy, that's what you should do. My belief is the fact that I need to write things that brings life into people's lives, and I will keep on writing.
Okay.
So I believe in marriage. I will be married, and I believe that my marriage will be successful.
Yeah. Does your book cater for same-sex marriage?
It doesn't. It's not a thought that I've entertained. I think that it's a thought that it is still beyond my comprehension at the moment. I haven't entertained, but I don't feel that it's a topic that I will be engaging on at the moment, because I don't know the basis. I don't have the basis. I don't have any information that I can say will back me up if I say this.
Yeah, and of course we need to be careful when we touch on this topic, because they are very sensitive, those people. They are more emotional than logical. Exactly. So yeah, we need to be very sensitive when we deal with this issue. Okay, so then let me not ask you more questions when it comes to that, because I wanted to ask you something very controversial. Okay. Then I don't want you to get cancelled.
Yes, please.
Because they do cancel.
Yes, please.
I don't want to get you cancelled. Why do you think is the reason we don't do very well? The state is not actually saying anything positive about us as black people. We've got a high rate of divorces.
Yeah,
as black people.
Yeah, I think there is an element of in discontent.
Yes.
That we struggle with.
Yeah.
This is not just racial thing. I'm not gonna be more looking into us as blacks only, but there is an issue of becoming discontent. It's a human thing.
Yes.
What makes me happy today and what fulfills me today is not the exact same thing that will fulfill me 5 years or 10 years from now. Then, because people grow, right?
Yes.
And people are complex. So if you can get to an understanding that as you grow, certain things need to change. And how do you change, or how do you become, um, how do you change with the environment? Because the environment will change. I will not stay looking like 20 or 30 or 40
Yeah.
forever. You will grow up, right?
Grow.
And when you grow up and lose some certain strengths and abilities and all that, how do you stay engaged with the changes? Because the issue is discontentment.
Yes.
When we start now feeling like you're getting bored, this is no longer how it used to be. It can't stay forever like that. We need to understand that things will change, people will grow, but how do we grow together when we grow? Because the issue is there. If I'm growing and you're not growing, you'll become discontent. You'll feel like I'm boring, right? You'll feel like, this guy is now boring. I'm no longer happy. He comes home, he sits on the couch. That's it.
Yes.
But how do we grow together? We need to pull each other and say, I think I'm leaving you behind, because I feel like our lifestyle is boring. It's boring. We need to go out a little bit, or we need to do things together. Let's go out. Let's refresh. Let's go on vacations. Find that spark.
Yes.
Because it will sometimes get lost, but you need to keep on igniting it.
Yeah. Then do you think we need to be aware and more intentional when choosing our partners when it comes to that aspect of outgrowing each other? You can see that this person doesn't, from the beginning to start with, she doesn't have a matric.
Yes.
But then I'm a graduate.
Yeah.
There is a chance that I might even elevate more, but then she doesn't have a matric to start with. Then I come to her and say, no, some other ladies, and then by spanning such things, and then where do you think we can find balance there?
You really are putting me on the edge. But what I will say is, I will go back to your coach that you said you put on your status, and you say you sprint and all that. You do need to be intentional as a human being. You need to. You cannot just build something that you're not sure of, right? You need to be intentional. That's why when people build a house, they go to architects. They go to people who will draw for them, right? They say, no, move this door, put it there. I don't want this. I want the veranda to look like that. Before you even build it, right? Because you are intentional of what you want to see when it's done, when it's complete. So you can't just get into a relationship and say, we'll see where it ends. Then you're not intentional about it. It will shock you. Somewhere in the marriage or in the relationship, you will get shocked and like, no, I don't think this is what I want, right? But you didn't build right? You knew what you were getting yourself into, but you ignored that because maybe I'm only interested in one certain aspect. Maybe there's one thing that makes me happy, but there's a lot of things that you're overlooking. I think that relationship won't work. You must look at everything and say, okay, what will this look like 5 years from now? Right? You need to be fair to yourself and to the next person, because you can't 5 years from now and say, but you're not growing with me. I'm not growing. Somebody's 10 years was invested in this, and you knew from the onset that I don't think this is going to work for me, but you chose to overlook it.
Yes.
So I think that whole thing is be intentional.
Now I come to her and say, no, you know what? I think you were good as a partner in a relationship, but not as a married
what are you
couple.
saying to that person?
Okay, then that's
you
why
there
is
now. And did she wear the guai
now I'm
then?
comparing you to what I see at
but
work.
Did she wear the guai then when you met?
No.
If you didn't, but why now? You see? So, like I was saying, discontent.
There's what they call premarital counseling. Yeah. I think that is important also.
It's very important.
So that you are aware and you are intentional. You know what you are getting yourself into. Okay. So therefore, you know that we're going to grow. We need to give each other maybe a certain period plan.
Yes.
That you know what, in 5 years' time, I see myself as this and this, or where at a certain level, doing this and this and that. And then, what do you think the financial aspect affect the marriage?
It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I was mentioning when you overcrowd each other, it might be financially. Relationship struggles. I think, regardless of what kind of relationship, it struggles when it comes to money. I know people that will tell you that family or not, but when it comes to money, I don't play. So imagine in a relationship when financial status start becoming a topic, where maybe because maybe you are a male or you're a female, you make more money, then you just maybe start feeling like that's what brings you, that gives you a position to be the one that is leading the relationship, or you need to be a dominant in a relationship because of your financial status. That becomes a challenge to the when there is instabilities in finances. There will always be issues, right? There will always be changes, and some changes other people manage to cope with and other people can't, right? And I think the biggest one that we cause for ourselves is people get married with financial instabilities.
Yes.
And you want to do quite a expensive wedding ceremonies, but given the fact that you are aware of your financial statuses and you are starting on an empty pocket, that's dangerous. Obviously, there will always be challenges there, because instead of rather not going with a very big or massive ceremony, and rather have a pocket that will sustain you guys, you might want to empty your pocket and start on a zero.
Yes.
I don't think there's anyone that will be willing to settle for not eating every day, or for not doing things that they used to do before they get married, because now they are married. Because marriage is not supposed to change you as a person. It must not take from your lifestyle. It must enrich it. But if it start now taking from your lifestyle, that marriage will crumble. And over time, it will be down on its knees, and there will be parting ways.
There's what they call red flags. Do you think, from first place, if I have to consider doing a prenup from the beginning, then that should serve as an indicator to say, no, maybe you might have a problem in future.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have to consider prenups before you get into a committed relationship or marriage, maybe then that serves as a red flag, isn't it?
It might be interpreted anyhow. I think everyone is entitled to their interpretation. So for other people, it's like a religion, right? It's how you believe that when you get to a marriage, this is what I should do. For other people, it might be just a form of security in terms of I don't want to lose my assets and all stuff. For other people, it might just be preferences. This is what other people are doing. I want to do it. Or just trying to cope and adapt to what is happening around you. And for other people, it must just be genuinely the fact that I'm not certain of where this thing will end, right? And when it ends, I want to protect myself.
We've got instances whereby things have changed a lot drastically, because back then we used to have masculine men who think, and even women who think a man's job is to provide, protect, and whatever, all those kind of things. But then here comes a time whereby women now earn more than men.
Yes.
And then now we have a problem when women is supposed to incorporate what we call a household income. Then they have a problem that, no, I'm earning more than what you earn. So why should we bring this thing together, this financial aspect together, into saying now this is a household income? Now I have a problem because you are not transparent with me when it comes to your finances. And then how do I trust you? How do we build on that?
Yeah, I think that it's still going to be a topic in the years to come. I don't think society is ready for that change. It's upon us, it's here. Women have caught up over time. There is some chapter in our book that says women have caught up over time, and if they can be able to do everything else that men were supposed to be able to provide and do for them, what is the what's the need? Why would they feel the need to enroll into the marital
Oh,
system?
yeah.
So I think for how I answered it, I just like the fact that the feeling that when you're alone, right? Because we were beings who were created in pairs. When you're alone, you will feel that you're alone. There will always be an empty space in you.
Yes,
That's why you're never fulfilled. That's why marriage will always stay in our hearts, because it's part of us. Like I was saying, as long as there's a man, there's a woman, there's marriage there. Then when it comes to these finances, that you feel that now that a woman brings a lot and they don't want to contribute in all that, I think that it's something that we're not ready yet as a society. Other people are ready mentally already. They are doing it and they don't see anything wrong. But majority, we're still looking at it in a way that a man must provide. There are gender roles, the things that men can't do that should be done by women, the things that women can't do that should be done by men, and that is what brings the problems.
Yeah.
There is an issue of evolution that we acknowledge the fact that people are evolved, people have evolved. And we acknowledge that as people are evolving, that means that men and women are evolving together. And we want to ignore the fact that men have evolved, right? The men that you're talking about today, it's not the men that you're talking about, the masculine, the old, the provider, the men that can handle stress, that can,
Fix the
deal with
cupboard,
emotions and never talk about anything. And
Into dichotomy.
they mustn't cry.
Yeah.
That's not that man. This man that is living today, it's a different man.
Yeah.
They've evolved. They are emotional. They can be able to shed tears. They will be able to tell how they feel, and they appreciate help as well.
I think there
from
was
their
something.
spouse.
Yes, exactly. I think there was something faulty that I've noticed from my own point of view.
Yes.
I believe that system was very intentional in disempowering. I listen to people like Omar Johnson, who's this? Peterson, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
People talk about all those dynamics when it comes to people coming together and union. So they talk about the intentional disempowering of men
Yeah.
and empowering women so that women can rely solely on the system. That now, okay, you've got a kid and the guy ran away, then no problem, we'll take care of your baby. Okay. For protection, no, you can live in a security estate. You don't have to worry about that. We've got police, we've got security there. Okay, financially, no, you are sorted. Now we've got ladies, women who are CEOs who are earning more than guys. Therefore, you can be reliant on the system. We've got insurances that were intentionally created so that a woman would feel that they are fulfilled just by being by themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
We've got toys that take care of the other aspect of their needs. Okay, then I believe that was intentional, and it is crushing the traditional family system that we used to have. Of course, rather than talking about adapting into this ideal future marriage, marital system, but we still have got a problem that is common in most societies, whether black, Jewish, white, and whatever. We still got that problem, and I think we are heading for more. We're gonna have more. I think, that's what I think. The system gets us unfair, actually.
Yeah. So if you look at the other topic in the book, it talks about the roles of a man and role of a woman. It's very specific in terms of what a man's role is in a relationship. And if that role is not successfully played, right, a woman will feel unfulfilled, and she will not be able to be successful in playing a role. So this is more about providing, guiding, assuring, loving, and all that. That's a role of a man. A role of women is about now coming to say, I'm going to be a nurturer. I'm going to be, they're more emotional. They deal with the emotional part of the relationship. They are more asserting, you know. If you are more assuring, they are more asserting. They're making sure that everything is in place, right? That's their role. The fact that the system is coming in and saying, we can do this, we can provide you that with, I think that didn't just happen, right? It didn't just start happening. And if we can look at what we are doing, if I want to be fair, if we can look at what we are doing as men, we are failing in our roles. If men are not failing in their roles, there won't be a need where a system need to come and say, we want to take over.
Oh.
The problem will always stick with the woman, because who gets left with the child? If we now
carries the whole burden,
who
about
gets
everything
to carry the whole burden? It's a woman, right?
Yes.
What assistance do they get? If I'm a guy, I can decide I will flee, and you don't have anything to flee with, right? If a woman, I can't flee alone. I have a baby, right? And the baby is here. It's not like they are non-existent. The system is only coming to bridge the gap. To say, if you guys are running away, we're going to come here and say, instead of them going and throwing kids, you know, in the trash, you know, because women used to leave kids in the trash because they can't provide, right?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of that, the government or the system is coming and saying, we will provide a little bit for you to be able to take care of the child, because men are fleeing away. Men are just failing in their role, which is providing. Then if the system comes in, we can't be angry. We need to look at what are we doing. What are we doing as men?
Don't you think our women are misusing that privilege? Because some would say, no, I don't need a man. Intentionally, so they say that out of pride that, you know, there's government, there's whatever, then therefore I've got money, I can take care of all other aspects that men would cater for. But then they will intentionally just out of the blue.
Like, I mean, we are entitled to our own preferences and our own choices. I believe that if somebody goes to an extent where they're like, I don't want a man, there's something that they have seen about a man that have made them feel that way about a man. So I like to look at matters from exactly where they might be coming from, but not at where they are at now. There is a reason for everything. So if somebody comes and say, don't tell me about it, they have multiple reasons in terms of why I'm saying this. I don't want a man. I can take care of myself.
And they are entitled to that, as you say.
But the whole thing is, are you really fulfilled?
Oh, it's about fulfillment.
You will never be fulfilled. For as long as you are alone, you are playing with toys, and you're getting all the math support and all that, there will always be something.
Another fault when
loneliness.
When we talk about by default failing women from girl child. As parents these days, they are training their girl child to say, no, you need to be independent, get educated. Your education is your husband. I sadly that thing and then just focus on your academics, get employment, then do your own things. But then that woman, that girl grows into a woman, and then she starts realizing, oh yeah, I've fulfilled whatever my parents were telling me to fulfill, but then now I still feel like I'm not fulfilled. That's me now as a woman now, because I'm standing on my own. Now I still need to realize certain things on my own for myself.
Exactly.
So I was playing a role. Okay, I've played a role or character for them, but then now comes to what I want for myself.
So I think it's safety. I think parents are more now about safety in terms of what reality is. Is it right? Yes, it is. Is it wrong? Yes, it might be wrong. Because like you're saying, when the child is grown now, they're like, I'm still empty, right? But did they protect them for where they are able to stand and say, now I can fly. I'm a grown babe, I can fly. I can make my own decisions. As a parent, I can come and say, I've done well, right? Have I deprived my child, all the other steps that they should have experienced, that they can't go back to experience? Yes, I did. As a child, I can feel that my parents have failed me. So it's a complex role that or a decision that as parents we need to make. You can decide, I want to let my child live their own life, and they come back broken to you and broken into pieces. You need to put those pieces together, right? Because you've let them fly away when they are not ready, and they come back broken because of this world. Or you can rather say, I will rather protect them and say, when you're fully grown, you will make your own decisions, and they still come back broken and say, you deprived me of all this and this and this and this. So parenting is not a formula. It's something that you just need to make as a parent, as a choice, and say, these are the choices I'm making for my girl child. Even when they come back, when they are old enough, achieved with academic achievements and employment and all that, and say, you have deprived me, but you can be able to stand firm and say, these are
But
my
I was
reasons.
protecting you from
These are
this
my
and
reasons.
this and this. Yes.
These are my reasons. I know this world, this is how vicious and how volatile this world is. This was just me protecting you.
Okay, do you actually, well, maybe we might confuse what is marriage to what is not marriage.
Yeah.
What is not marriage?
I think the what is affirmed and what is biblically affirmed by society and by Bible. Marriage is when two people are blessed together to become a husband and a wife. That's the heart of marriage. That's where the marriage starts, and the principles that guides it. It's what happens after then.
There's someone who said, coming back to the state, someone commented and said, maybe it's because us as blacks, the reason to why the state says something negative about us getting divorced and stuff is because we get married under different arrangements. Because have you ever been into lobola negotiations? Do you think there are some faults that we are making that default us into failing?
I have been into some. I've witnessed quite a few, and I will agree maybe with what the stats are saying, based on the fact that especially when there is cultural differences, there is always a way that the negotiators always want to assert dominance and power with each other. There's always a power play from the negotiators, and it's no longer about the bride and the groom. Those negotiations about them just showing how difficult they are and how pushing back they can be, and how much moneyed we are and how much demanding we can be. It becomes a show. It becomes a show of us showing who we are and all that, instead of building a relationship, right? Because from onset you are starting on a wrong footing, right? Because we're starting by disagreeing with a lot of things, and you after then we just want to patch and move forward. It's not as simple as that. So the issue starts with the negotiators. I think if the negotiators can understand their role, that their role is not to make fussy, it's to go and ask for a bride. For you, it's going to present the bride. That's your role. It's not about you denying things and pushing back and you asking a lot of questions. That's where the problem. It's about these two people. They're already here. They've chosen each other. Regardless of what you guys do and for weeks and fighting and going back, those two people have chosen each other. And you're making their life difficult.
They're just actually involving you at the final phase of everything.
And it's not even about them, right? It's just respect in terms of we want to use traditional way of doing it because we want to say Abu Malome, they will go there and ask for the bride, and Abu Malome will present the bride, That's a traditional way of showing respect. But instead of that, two family negotiators working together, they work against each other.
I believe that when the exercising of power in the relationship or in the marriage becomes the center of focus, then something gets off somewhere.
Yeah, I think this comes from when you allow the family to be too much involved in a
Yes.
relationship.
Yeah.
Then you're giving them ammunitions, like I was saying. You're giving them power, right? That they can always dictate what is good and what is bad. Our role as partners is to advocate for my partner. In terms of, I cannot be now that I'm upset and I'm feeding them with all these negativities about her. And when she's upset or things are not going well, she's feeding them all the negativities about me. You just empowering them in terms of anything that shows cracks in that relationship, they're going to navigate it properly or efficiently because they already have the insights of their relationship.
Yeah.
So it becomes a struggle when we involve too much of our families into our relationship. But there is an extent of, obviously my family will have to look up for me. That's how human is. You will always have best interest in terms of who do I choose, do you think they are good for me. They might be asking all these questions, right? Just to want to see how certain are you about this person. Are you happy? Where are you at the moment? And I will do with my daughter. There's no way I can't. I will want to know, are you happy? Are we really sure about this guy? I'm not saying it's not a right choice. I just want to be making sure that you as well are not just doing this maybe because you are under pressure or you're looking for something, but you really want this man to be, or this woman to be your spouse.
Yes.
There's no pressures. There's no anyone that is pulling like some strings to say, you are old, maybe you should be getting married, or when you are old as well, maybe you should marry. But it's your own decision. You really feel that, you know what, this is the one for me.
Maanda, I still have got a lot of questions and a lot of topics to discuss with you, but because we are bound by time, we can't break that rule of time. So what would you say in closing? Or firstly, give them your contacts or your social media handles where they can get hold of you, and also tell them where they can find the book.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I am available on Facebook. It's Maanda Raphulu. And you can find me on WhatsApp. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me as well on TikTok. It's mshow. It's mshow.44 on TikTok. It's mshow.25 on Instagram. And I just have a WhatsApp channel called mshow on WhatsApp. The book, it's sold online. We have it on Kobo. We have it on banners. But even if you just go on Google and just Google my name, Maanda Raphulu, the book will pop up. Then you can be able to get yourself a copy there. My email address is raphulu.mm. It's just my surname and mm@gmail.com. You can be able to reach me whenever, if somebody wants to engage with me. That's where you can actually get to contact me.
Did you give them your contacts?
Yes, I give them my contact number is 066 184 9326.
Yes.
066 184 9326.
Are you also available for marriage counseling?
I'm available
to help us as young couples.
I'm available for talks. I'm available for talks. If there is any talks where you want me to come and usher a certain topic, I'm available for that. For hosting an event, I'm available for that. You will still be seeing a lot of me. I'm somebody who attends church. Maybe you know David. Madidimanga is my younger brother.
He's your younger brother?
Yes, I'm from that family.
Okay.
It's my younger brother. He's my aunt's son.
Yes. Okay, you do look alike. Okay, so then what would you say? Anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, I just want to say marriage is not bad. Marriage is something that was designed by God himself. If we can tend to look at it in a positive way, not what we are being sold at the moment, what is happening. The challenge is only, if you look at the stars that we are sold now, it's not the it's only the stats of failed marriages. There's no stats that talks about successful marriages. So if you can look at the positive, and yes, we still have to entertain the warring stats, but there are marriages that are successful. There are people that will tell you amazing stories. We've been married for 40 years. I am a person that likes to look at both sides in terms of what is happening right and what is happening wrong.
Yes.
Yes, we still have quite a lot of high employment rate. I mean, inflation is high. We have issues of crime. These are big issues that we can't ignore, right? But if we can look, our country is quite a diverse country. It's quite a country that I feel that it's cultural rich. There's big diversity in our country that we can be proud of. The issue of load shedding, I mean, it's getting better, right?
Yeah.
It's something to be positive about. Even though we still experience that and that, but we can say there's something positive that is coming. I would just encourage our viewers and young adults and our young people to say, instead of really only focusing on what is wrong or what is going wrong, try to look at the positive as well. Because life is the balance of both what is going wrong and what is going right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your viewers.
I still want you back.
I'll be back. I'll be back as long as you call me. I'll be back here.
And please invite me, maybe if you have other future endeavors, events, something that needs media coverage.
Definitely, I will do that. I will always include you.
Feel welcome to do that.
I will always do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Keep on.
It was
I
very,
wish you well.
very lovely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Did you have fun?
Very good, engaging interview.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I really did have fun. I've learned a lot. And I think our viewers at home will also learn a lot.
Thank you. Cool.